All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Speed Gaming. Today we've got a good one for you. We've got a Pac-Man World 2 any% speedrun featuring slayerr0cker83 and Frogs65. I'm one of your hosts, slayerr0cker83. I go by Jordan, and I'm joined here by my co-host Baboonska, who goes by Hunter.
Hello. So, to give you a bit of background information on our runners, we got slayerr0cker83. He joined Pac-Man World 2 speedrunning, or uploaded his first speedrun of any% about 4 months ago. He has a PB of 45:10, which is pretty good. And on the other side, we got Frogs65. He joined and submitted his first run about 3 to 4 years ago, around there. And he has a PB of 40:30, so quite a bit faster, but he hasn't got his PB. He got his PB almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, and that being said, I think we're going to have a pretty good race tonight. Frogs is obviously the more experienced player, has been around longer, higher on the leaderboard, but he hasn't been too active recently. I think Slayer has a good shot to take advantage of some of that rust that he might have.
Yeah, absolutely. Slayer has been really active in the Pac-Man World 2 community recently. Frogs is, he's not really retired, but he's sort of rusty right now. He hasn't practiced too much for this race, so we're probably going to see a couple mistakes from him that could allow Slayer to get some time back.
Okay, I think with that good introduction, we're pretty ready to get started.
Yep.
I think it might just be a moment here before we get underway.
Yep, just going to be waiting for everything to get set up correctly.
In the meantime, though, I think could give some background on the game, maybe. It's not a new game, obviously. It came out on the GameCube, I believe, almost 20 years ago at this point, but it's managed to keep a pretty large speedrunning following up to this day.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun speedrun to do. There are a couple levels later on which are a bit tedious, but other than that, it's actually a pretty fun speedrun. Quite a big following still, but yeah, it's pretty fun.
I think it's kind of unique in the way that there aren't too many super game-breaking bugs. There's just a lot of little things where you can save time that's really gotten refined to a point where there aren't going to be that many times that are better than the current world record, I don't think. It's gotten down to a pretty fine run that the top players have here.
Yeah, McKid has especially pushed the time really far. His runs are really, really clean, and his movement's really nice. I'd say the movement is probably one of the most fun parts of this run. And as you said, there aren't really too many game-breaking bugs. Like, the biggest things would be a couple skips in some of the levels where you can skip most of the level. But other than that, it's really movement-based, which just gives a really nice speedrunning.
Definitely. And you brought up McKid, the current world record holder. He's actually gotten the time to below 40 minutes, and he's the only one to have done that.
Yeah,
He was his best time only a month ago, so times are still being improved, but can we see it go much further than where it is now? I really don't think so.
yeah, it'd be tough. McKid has pushed the world record pretty far. The world record, I believe, is a 39. What is it? Is it 40 something?
Is a 39:42.
That's really good.
And while we're talking about the world record, Frog65 in this race has actually been the world record holder, was it twice or was it once?
I think it was at least twice. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's definitely one of the biggest names in the game.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while, so I think it's crazy because Frogs. I was looking back at his history of his any%. I saw the first run he submitted was a 44, which is absolutely crazy to me.
That was his first?
That was the first one he submitted. I imagine he has other runs that he didn't submit, but that was the first one submitted.
Right. I personally know he's been playing this game for a long time and definitely had some runs to completion before he submitted any of his records. But to even start at 44, that would still put him in the top 15 today.
That is, unless speedrun.com is not, is showing all of the runs. And I hope it is, but from what I can see on speedrun.com, that's his first one.
Now that we've talked about some of Frog's, I don't think he's submitted a run for over a year now, but Slayer's his best run was only 2 months ago.
Yeah, Slayer started about this last Christmas, I'd say. Or that's about when he submitted his first run. So he's a lot more recent experience with the game compared to Frogs, who's kind of been absent from the scene for a little bit. I know Frogs showed up in one of the races recently. He might have done more. But yeah, Slayer has been really active in the community.
Right, and like I said earlier, I think that's his big point is Frogs has not been running a lot recently, and I don't believe he's even been playing a lot of platformer games in general. So if he's to mess up anywhere, Slayer really has to take advantage of anything he messes up.
Yeah, from personal experience, I know that Frogs has been playing mainly some Minecraft and League of Legends, unfortunately, recently.
Right, and that doesn't translate too well to games like this, now does it?
No, it doesn't. Maybe Minecraft, but yeah, not League of Legends.
No, not at all. And I don't think playing mouse and keyboard, even on Minecraft, he's playing here with a GameCube controller, so that's going to be a completely different beast still.
Yep. Yes, hopefully we can get this run going soon.
Yeah, not too much information on how much longer it's going to be, but hopefully it should get underway here soon.
Okay.
Okay, my apologies, we just received some update and we should be getting underway here soon. How about you guys in the chat? Have any of you guys played this game? Is it new to you? Have you speedran it before? I want to hear.
We should probably give some background on our experience with the game as well. So, as far as I go, I have a PB of around 52 or so. Jordan, I don't know what time you have, but I know it's not the one on speedrun.com.
No, I haven't submitted my most recent time, but it's not that great. I haven't run this game too much. I played it casually when I was younger, and Frogs brought me back into it a little bit, but I think I know enough about the game just from having done a couple runs, you know?
And compared to me, I've never played this one casually. I've basically only done speedruns for it, just because of Frogs. Yo, Nacho's never played it. That's crazy. Nacho had a really good run on the last match of this tournament. He actually PB'd, which is crazy to do in a tournament run.
Yes, he did. You don't see that very often.
And we have the run starting.
All right, here we go.
Oh, and Frogs looks like he has his emulate. He might be on. I'm not sure what's happening there, but he had to go through a couple menu screens.
I do believe he's on emulator, yeah.
That makes sense. So he's going to lose a bit of time from that, but overall it shouldn't be too bad.
Nothing too serious there, for sure.
And you see, we're already past the first level. The first level is really fast, in that you basically just get 2 rev-rolls to the very end.
Right, starts out pretty easy, some of the tricks not too complex, but as we go farther along, there are some pretty crazy things they can abuse in the game to save some time.
Yep. And we're just these first couple levels are quite movement based, so we're basically just going to be seeing how refined these runners' movement are or is.
Right, and it looks like they're almost exactly in sync now.
Yeah. So Frog's caught up a little bit,
Frogs is just slightly ahead now, it looks like.
and looks like Frog is doing a bit more of a risky strat for this level, doing a rev roll at the very start.
Right, and that's where his experience is showing. He's done that roll hundreds of times, and Slayer chose the safe option to just do the easy jumps, and that's going to get Frogs at least a couple seconds ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think both of these runners are actually on emulator, which is interesting. It's just Frogs did not have his set up correctly.
I don't know how in the world that could have happened.
Pretty standard. Oh, Frogs is actually opting to do a rev jump there, which is not something I've really seen before. But
No, that was a big risk.
It did look like it saved quite a bit of time. It was pretty impressive. And let's see. Yep, Slayer gets a really nice rev roll on the button island so he doesn't have to ledge grab. And going through.
Yeah, and at this point, it looks like Frogs is maybe 5-ish seconds ahead, so he's off to a pretty strong start here.
And Frogs is entering the first boss now, Blinky. And the way Blinky works is you have to hit him so many times. And each time you hit him, he kind of gets a bit of invulnerability. But that invulnerability actually wears down in the pause menu, so you could just pause the game while you have your rev roll still going. And as soon as the invulnerability wears out, you can unpause the game and instantly hit him again. So you can get a really fast Blinky time doing that.
Frogs with a nice 2-cycle there, and it looks like Slayer as well got 2 cycles, so about equal there.
I think it's 1 cycle. It's based on how many times Blinky jumps, I believe.
Oh, you're right there. So they both had to stop their rev roll once, but got it in 1 cycle.
Yeah, I think that's pretty standard.
Oh, Slayer missing the pad there. That's going to lose him some time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Frog's still going strong, though. Not a lot of mistakes from him other than that the menus at the beginning.
Yep. Frog's had a little trouble with camera on when he was doing a ledge grab there, but other than that, this level was pretty clean from him.
Yeah, that one death for Slayer definitely put him behind. Frogs finished that last level, I believe, at about 4:02. So Slayer's going to be over 20 seconds behind. And he hits the ghost. He's going to lose even more time on that.
Yeah, hitting the ghost there, it's quite a bit of RNG where the ghosts actually are. Usually you can go around them, but sometimes it's just hard and you hit one accidentally. Yep. Frogs gets kind of bad RNG with the ghost in the middle of right in front of his way as well. Oh, and he does a rev jump right there. Interesting.
He's definitely pulling out all the stops with these rev jumps right now.
Yeah. Oh, and for those who don't know, rev jumps are when you charge a rev roll and right after you do a jump, and it has to be on a sloped surface. I'm not great at them, so I don't know exactly how they're done, but as far as I know, rev roll, jump right after, and a bunch of your forward momentum gets transferred into upward momentum, so you can jump higher.
As you were saying that, Slayer dies again. He is losing a lot of time here on these tree levels.
Yeah, these tree levels they have a couple skips in them, but a lot of it is just really refined movement that you have to have. Oh, he goes for a slow riff roll there. Ooh, Slayer goes for pacifist, but does not get it.
This is going to be tough for Slayer to recover from. Frogs, with his experience, shouldn't make too many mistakes that are going to let Slayer catch up. He'd have to make some big mistakes, and Slayer would have to be pretty perfect.
Yeah, I guess the thing to talk about is Frogs is probably still pretty rusty, so I imagine some of the more difficult levels might be challenging, particularly some of the bosses later in the run. These regular levels that are just kind of normal and movement based, I imagine Frogs will be pretty good at, but the bosses might be a bit more challenging for him. And Slayer is playing it pretty safe now.
Right, he can't afford any more big mistakes.
Yeah.
So Frogs is now on to the second boss, where as you can see, you just have to rev roll into the side of him and he takes damage. He did that pretty perfectly, I'd say.
Yeah, I would say this is Inky, and Inky is probably one of the easiest bosses in the game, if not the easiest. He is after Blinky, but I would say you really only have to do 3 rev rolls to beat Inky, so... And they're pretty easy rev rolls to do.
And Frogs is now into the second world, which, as you can see, is an ice, snow, kind of cold theme.
The second world is just... Yeah, this is the third world, sorry. The ice world is just brutal if you're playing the run casually. It's just, there's so many times when you can just fall into a pit and just lose a minute. It's really just brutal if you ever have any small mistakes.
Right, and I think that's a big opportunity here for Slayer. If Frogs messes up here in the third world, there are a lot of those areas where you just lose a lot of time.
Yeah, we're especially going to have to look at Avalanche Alley, which is going to be Frogs' next level. There's a lot of places where you're interacting with terrain in weird ways, and if you mess up on that, you can easily just bounce into a ditch and lose a lot of time.
Right, and I say Frogs is about a minute ahead here, so he's going to need to fall into some of those pits with the awkward movement for Slayer to have a good chance of catching up here.
Yep.
And like Hunter was saying, the level that Frogs just entered, Avalanche Alley, is kind of known in the community for being an annoying level. The camera's facing behind you, and you're being continuously chased by this big snowball you see behind Frogs. So you have to kind of memorize what's in front of you and know the most efficient path to not fall off some of this weird slippery terrain in front of you.
Yeah, it is absolutely it is absolutely brutal for new runners, because if you don't have it memorized, it's either you risk it and you risk falling into a ditch, or you just walk the entire thing. And obviously walking is a lot slower.
Right, and it might not look like it, but you can walk the level, I believe. The snowball isn't actually that fast, but obviously this is a speed run, so you're going to do the rev rolls.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like Slayer is about a minute 15 seconds behind, I'd say.
Right, and Frog's still playing this pretty well, but there are still a lot of opportunities for him to lose time here.
See our first wind boost by Frogs there. And it just allows you to skip quite a big ways there. And we're going to be seeing more of those, and a lot more risky ones too. That first one is quite easy to do, but these later ones are a bit more challenging. It was a pretty okay okay wind boost by Frogs. It wasn't the best I've seen, but it was okay.
No, but anything that isn't going into the pit and dying is better than doing that.
Absolutely, it's more like he's playing it safe with that one.
Right, and when you're ahead like this, that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a really nice wind boost by Frogs, actually.
That was a close one. That ended up being really, really nice.
Yep, let's see if he gets... Oh, he gets it. If you jitter your movement stick at the very end of that level, you can skip a landing animation. It looks like Frogs got it. Oh, okay. I was a bit worried for Slayer there that a ram was going to get him, but he did, released his Reveral just in time.
I know that's happened to me more than once.
Yep. A couple of runs yesterday I was doing that happened, so a bit worried about it. And now Frogs is on Blade Mountain, which is an ice skating level. When he hits an icicle, generally you don't want to hit those.
Slayer, on the other hand, almost fell into a pit. He got stuck on some ice and could have slid down, but he recovered pretty well.
Let's see. Frogs, he's just
Oh
generally on
no!
Blade Mountain. Ugh. You hate to see it.
Slayer again. Gonna get another death there. This is shaping up to be a really tough recovery for him.
So generally on Blade Mountain, the level Frogs is on, you want to go straight forward as much as possible, and you can see that Pac-Man's going straight forward if he has his hands behind his back. So when you go straight forward, you gain the most momentum. Basically, you have the highest acceleration. So the more you do that, the faster you go, and we'll be seeing a bit of that from Frogs. But of course, you're going to have to do some turns here and there because the level is not straight.
Right, and with that, you can optimize this really well, getting your speed, knowing your lines, but there also isn't a lot of room to actually mess up that big here.
Yeah, unless you somehow fall into some of the pits in the ending section, there's not too many places to mess up. We see Slayer's also on Blade Mountain now.
And he's doing a very good job avoiding the icicles. I don't want to get the caster's curse. Alright, there he is, out of the cave. Better than Frogs. No icicles.
We still have another cave coming up, but yeah, hopefully. It is worth mentioning that generally, if you're going fast enough, you can just go right through where the icicles would land. Because you're going so fast, the icicles actually just don't fall fast enough.
Frogs is now moving on to the next boss, Pinky, which he actually has the individual level world record for still, I believe.
He messes it up a little bit, I think, but yeah, is still. Oh,
Oh
I
no.
was gonna say really good, but yeah, it's still really good though. Probably a bit of time lost there, but it was a good enough Pinky.
I know he's not going to be too happy with that. It is a bit of his pride and joy to be the Pinky individual level world record holder.
He did have that as his name in Discord for quite a while.
And that now puts Frogs in, I believe, the fourth world, correct me if I'm wrong, which is all like volcano and lava themed.
We're gonna see waterfall boosts here, where the waterfalls actually push you a bit, so you can revel into them and, harness a bit of the waterfall's momentum and boost you just a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of those nice little movement tricks here in this world.
Yep.
Looking good on this level so far for Frogs, as Slayer is about to come to the end of Blade Mountain.
Yep. And we're gonna be able to see how Slayer does on Pinky here. And Frogs is coming up. His next level is going to be probably one of the largest skips in the game. Oh, and Frogs actually does a really nice rev roll there. But Frogs is coming up to one of the biggest skips in the game called VP skip. It requires really nice movement. You have about 5 seconds of leeway, I believe, if you do everything correctly. But if you lose any more than 5 seconds on movement, you're probably not going to make it to the end of the level and be able to see what Frogs does here. So basically he's going to grab a chrome ball at the very beginning, and that's going to make him immune to lava. We're going to see him quickly try to rev roll to the spot where he needs to be, do a clip through some terrain, and then he's going to fall down to this lava plane where he's just going to need to jump across it. Let's see if he gets this clip. Yep, he does. So now he's on this lava plane. He needs to jump across it. Oh, he doesn't. I've never seen that. He does a rev roll right there. So he jumps across, and then as soon as you get to the end of this plane, he butt bounces down to the end of the level section where you can just walk off to the end of the level.
Perfectly done from Frogs.
Now he's going to Magma Opus, which is probably, I think it's one of the most fun levels in the game. There's just a lot of really fun tricks to do in this one.
Yeah, in terms of how fun the tricks are to do, this is definitely one of the more enjoyable levels.
Yeah, there's just like everything about this. I think this probably is my favorite level. It's just there's some really nice skips. There's really nice movement. It's just really nice in general.
See, Frogs made getting through that last room with the big lava monster look pretty easy. I can tell you it's not as easy as that looks. You have to get the rev roll just right, or you're going to end up being in that room for a lot longer than you want.
So if you try to do that room casually, it can be horrible. That lava monster can just shoot you and snipe you from so far away. It's really annoying. And then we see slide skip that Frogs is doing here. And he gets it easy.
That's just another memorization thing. You gotta know where to be.
Yep. There's kind of a setup for it. Like there's a stalactite or stalagmite, I can't remember which, in the bottom left of your screen, which you can kind of use to help you line it up. But other than that, it's mainly just memorization. Oh, and Frogs is doing some eye bounces here, and I imagine he's going to try a rev jump to get on top of Clyde's head faster. Yep, and he does. So he gets a perfect first and second phase.
slayerr didn't look like he liked that VP skip time he had, so he had to restart the level.
Yeah. Oh. So, in the boss that Frogs is on, Clyde, his machine actually has a hitbox on one of the eyes. Like it's either the left or right, but if you time your jump correctly, you can actually hop on top of it and get on top of Clyde's head early, like just like that. Usually Clyde, after he shoots some fireballs, he'll kind of lower himself down and come next to where you can jump on his head, basically. By doing those eye bounces, you can get on top of his head earlier and finish the level faster. Now we're on to some watery levels.
Right. These are known as, honestly, quite boring levels to watch speedrun of, because you're set at a pretty much fixed pace just going forwards through the levels here.
Yeah, there are a couple things you can do to speed yourself up by getting mine boosts. But other than that, it's just, there's not much you can really do to gain time or lose time here. But I don't think Frogs does too many mine boosts.
It looks like slayerr is nearly to the end of this level. He'll be getting to Clyde and then the water world. Numerous minutes behind Frogs here.
I'm actually really surprised with how well Frogs is doing. I thought he would be a lot more rusty, to be honest.
Right, it doesn't look like he missed a beat.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And Slayer got a bit of the wonky camera that this game has. And the camera in this game can sometimes just decide to screw you over for really no reason at all. Now we see he's on Clyde, and it'll be interesting to see what strats he tries. Oh. And he actually does a rev jump on phase 1, which isn't... I don't think it's what people normally do. I think people normally do eye bounce on phase 1, but he does a rev jump on phase 2 as well. He probably just finds it easier because it's the same strat for all the phases. Oh, and he does a eye bounce on phase 3 though. Interesting.
Now, I don't know enough about Clyde to know, was that intentional or not?
I would say no.
Doesn't look
I
like it
wasn't
lost him too much.
Yeah. Gets a nice rev jump, phase 4. Oh, and really close on that eye bounce on phase 5. So he backs it up with a rev jump. Pretty nice. Oh,
Not
if he
finding
can
this
get
hitbox.
that's just one of the amazing things about Clyde. You can bounce on top of his head, but his hitbox gets smaller and smaller. So it can be really hard to find the right spot.
Alright, and that puts Slayer onto the water world as well, and if my math is right, there's about a 3-minute difference here.
I think so, yeah. Now we get to sit back and watch some water levels, which aren't the most exciting. But
No.
we will, at least in these ones, we get to see some mine boosts. See, looks like Slayer's going for one now when he gets it. Pretty nice. Frogs gets his.
Alright, these levels are kind of known for being not the most entertaining, so I'm gonna throw it to the chat. If you're a runner of this game, what is your least favorite level? And if you're not a runner of this game, from what you've seen so far, do you think you have any interest in running it, maybe?
Good question. I'm not... Least favorite level. Interesting. I might say Avalanche Alley on that one.
I feel like that's a pretty popular answer. A lot of people hate that level.
I know a lot of runners of this game will probably say Yellow Pac-Man just because of how boring it is.
Yep, and that was Nacho's answer.
Yep. I feel like the more you learn about a couple of these levels, even the ones like Avalanche Alley, they have some fun strats to do on. Well, Yellow Pac-Man is just kind of boring.
Go ahead.
Now you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to throw the runners' links in the chat. Be sure to check them out.
Now Frogs is going on to Yellow Pac-Man, which is basically an 8-minute auto-scroller. Why is this in the game? Nobody knows.
No, not the best game design, but it has become quite the meme in the community, at least.
Yep. Oh, and Slayer actually gets sent to pretty low health, but he's at the end of the level, so he's good.
Now you can see Frog shooting all of these mines here. Do you think that's more for safety or more because there's nothing else to do?
When I run this level, I usually just do it because there's nothing else to do. However, we might see Frogs try to 100% YPM. I imagine he's going to try to at least get all of the oranges. But other than that, I don't know.
I mean, might as well. You've got this kind of dreary background with just the occasional enemy coming to shoot a missile at you. Gotta do something.
Wow, that was a pretty nice mine boost by Slayer. Honestly, almost every single mine boost I see is a pretty nice one because whenever I run, I only hit about 2, I'd say.
Yeah, they're not as easy. It looks like you just, bump into the mine at this angle, but it's really kind of a tough angle to get.
Yeah, there is one setup that I'm pretty sure like every runner does, and that's tray boost, and we might see. I think Slayer's coming up to it, or maybe he already passed it. I don't know. But tray boost is probably one of the easiest ones to get set up correctly.
This part that Frogs is at right now with all these pipes on the side, he makes it look so effortless dodging them. I always find myself hitting at least one. The camera angle, just something about it, just I always run into one.
I find that the ones going straight up and down vertical are pretty easy to dodge. However, the ones that go horizontal are a lot. For some, their hitbox is just weird. Generally, you can just go all the way up and you won't hit it though. Oh, and here's tray boost on Slayer's end. Let's see if he gets it. No, maybe I can't tell. Maybe he got a little bit of it, but it wasn't as good as you would have hoped for.
Maybe a little bit of the commentator curse talking about how easy it was a minute ago.
Yeah, even if it is easy, it's like, yeah, if you're kind of on the wrong angle or you just don't have it set up correctly, or anything can happen really. And now we see Slayer also on YPM.
It's the beauty of YPM. You can be a few minutes behind, but still be on the same level at this point.
Yep. If anyone in chat wants to, needs to go to the bathroom or maybe get some water to stay hydrated, now would be the time. Yeah, time for a snack.
Do you have any snacks by chance?
I have a bit of water with me, but no snacks, unfortunately.
I feel like I definitely need something. Frogs has now picked up the most fun part of this level, that little minigun that shoots a bunch of pellets at a 45-degree angle from each other.
But that is a really fun part of this level. And it's always, oh, you hate to see it. It's always unfortunate when you get it and just like a couple seconds later you lose it. Because as soon as you take damage, it gets knocked off of the submarine.
Yeah, it's gonna just be more of the same, it looks like, going through this level, shooting some mines, shooting some of the enemies. Really not a whole lot to talk about in terms of the speedrun here.
So, just pulled up Frogs' stream right now. He is only 22 seconds behind his PB, which is really crazy, actually.
Right, for how little he's been running, that is an impressive pace for him right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think he's done really. I know he practiced for about 45 minutes before this race, but that's really all the practice he's had.
Some of that muscle memory kicking in.
Absolutely. This is pretty nice. And I pulled up Slayer's stream too. He is about 126 behind his PB. He has gotten a couple golds though, which is nice. He got a gold on Into the Volcano and Magma Opus.
You always love to see that in a run.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, it looks like they're at the same point a minute ago there, where there's just a wall of mines and nothing else.
Beauty of YPM. We are coming up on probably one of the more infamous bosses in the game, or at least one of the bosses that can really make or break a run. So we're coming up on Whale. In a couple minutes. YPM is like that. But Whale, it really determines if you get a good run or not, or if it's a 40 or a 41 for Frogs, probably. Whale has 4 propellers. Whale is like a giant submarine, and it has 4 propellers, and you have to shoot each of the propellers off. Now, normally, in a casual run, you'd shoot 1 propeller off on each phase. However, in the speedrun, it's optimized so you can get all of the propellers shot off in 1 phase. So we might see that from Frogs. I imagine he's either going to get a 1 cycle or a 2 cycle. Slayer is probably going to be the same, a 1 cycle or a 2 cycle. I'm not sure if Slayer does 1 cycle, but it's probably at least 2 cycle.
Yeah, Whale is definitely one of those levels that separates some of the top, like, very best runners in this game from the more casual runners. It's hard to pull off, and it just really saves you a lot of time if you do it right.
Yeah, we see Frogs going into Whale right now. And he's just skipping past all these menus to get the right cycle. And we're gonna see how he does. I know this is one of the levels he was practicing before the race. And each propeller takes 8 shots, so you see he's gonna unload 6 into them at the start, and then go back and hit him with 2 more. And then the final 9th shot is going to destroy the propeller. And let's see if he gets it. That was really close. So Frog's got 3 of the propellers in 1 phase, and then he's gonna get the last one in this next phase. So it's a 2 cycle.
Yeah, and that was really close from him there. We'll see how Slayer does.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what strats he does, because I'm actually not sure. And Frogs gets a pretty fast 2 cycle. Doesn't spend too much time getting that last propeller. That does lose about 30 seconds, I believe. Maybe a bit less. The difference between 1 cycle and 2 cycle, that is. So now he's on to Haunted Boardwalk. Probably... this used to be one of my least favorite levels in the game. Just because of how messed up some of the physics can be with these ice skates when you're jumping around. We'll see how Frogs deals with it, though.
Right, there isn't too much mechanically to this level, but it really shows just how good you are at movement.
Yeah. There are some unfortunate glitches that can happen during this level. Hopefully we don't see them. I know one happened to me recently, so I'm kind of scarred from it.
Oh, where was that at?
So, I don't know exactly how it's done, but generally you're going to be seeing a lot of flip kicks on this level, and that's to cancel Pac-Man's upward momentum, just to get him to the ground faster. So when you do these flip kicks, if you do a butt bounce while you're flip kicking, I think this is how it works. If you do a butt bounce while you're flip kicking, your next jump, you will immediately do the butt bounce. So if you're, say, your next jump is jumping over, a pit, you're just going to immediately jump and go straight into the pit.
That would be unfortunate. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, I know a lot of the top runners usually do things to avoid that from happening, so we probably won't see it. But if you don't know, if you don't know what you're doing like me, it can happen and really ruin a run.
Alright, and Nacho just in the chat said what I think is the proper terminology for it. It is a butt bounce storage.
Yes.
And now we've got Slayer onto Whale. We'll see if he can hit the one cycle.
Let's see. Looks like he's going for it, I think. Ooh. Same as Frogs. You missed the bottom left one.
That was nearly identical.
Yep. Oh. And Frogs is... Oh, he didn't... Frogs at the end of Haunted Boardwalk. There. And Slayer gets it pretty fast. 2 cycle 2. About the same as Frogs. So, on this level Frogs at, it's night crawling. It's one of the only levels, I think it is the only level where you actually have to gather fruits to proceed. So, you'll see later in the level, Frogs will be hitting open treasure chests which have fruit on them. And these treasure chests are going to have bounce pads. And I think they're only bounce pads, I can't remember, but we'll see him later. That he's going to need to progress, so that's why he's going to be killing a skeleton right here to get a cherry. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to do that. And he also gathered a apple at the very start of the level.
And again, this might not be as technical as some of the other things that these runners have done to save time, but if you optimize your movement just right here, that's big. That saves you a good amount of time, just knowing where the enemies are, you know, what fruit you have to get, the best line to take.
Absolutely. Haunted Boardwalk is probably one of the... It's one of the levels that benefits most from optimization, I'd say. It's hard to do it correctly, or, okay, let me backpedal a bit. This level, it kind of works on cycles. Very few people have actually gotten, like, the very best cycle, but optimization on this level can save you a lot of time still. And the best cycle is probably not viable for these types of runs.
No, that would take near perfection.
Yeah. Okay, so Frogs is going on to Ghost Bayou now. I think it might be the largest skip in the game. I imagine there are about like 4 different ways to do Ghost Bayou skip. I imagine we'll be seeing Frogs doing wall clip though. It's the newest way to do it, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it looks like Frogs is probably doing wall clip here. It's pretty tricky to get down. I know Frogs is saying, he told me before this run that he's either going to get it 3rd try or 20th, so we'll see what happens here. Ooh. Looking closer to the 20th. So what he's trying to do is, he's kind of walking into this wall at an angle, and he's quickly flipping the movement stick back, and I believe pressing B or something. I don't really know how to do it, but it's a pretty difficult trick to do, I would say, but it can save a lot of time.
Right, I haven't seen that before. That actually looked like it saved a decent amount of time there for sure.
Yeah. Compared to the old way, it is quite a bit faster. And we see Frogs on Spooky. So he's going to try to get 4 hits and then throw himself into the void to reset Pac-Man and Spooky's position. Get 4 hits again. Let's see if he can do it. Oh, he doesn't get 4 hits, so he just decides to throw himself in the void again and get a reset. It is usually faster if you don't get all of the stun lock hits to just reset and try again. And then on this third phase, it's really difficult to get 4 hits, so he's going to opt for 2 and then a chase down. 2, and then he chases him down. And tries to get a hit there, doesn't get it, but he... Oh.
Having some
Very
trouble with
close.
the last one, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to play it safe. And there we go, that's time.
Yeah, Frog's coming in with a very respectable time of 41.46. That's definitely better than I thought we'd see from him.
I was expecting a 42 or maybe a 43, but yeah, that's a really good time.
Frogs,
Hello.
Oh,
congratulations. How'd you feel about that run?
that run was really, really good.
Yeah,
I
sure.
just blew my expectations.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
with the,
talking about that.
Right, with
We
the
had-
little amount of practice, that was really crispy.
That run had a PB potential leaving Clyde, as a matter of fact. That's how good it was.
Wow.
And then we choked Whale, but that's a classic.
Yeah, Whale does that to you.
So, speaking of messing up some of the bosses, what happened on Pinky there?
Pinky was super weird. I'm trying to remember what happened. I think the camera screwed me up for one of them. And I just like slid off of a platform, and that caused me to not be able to get the double hit afterwards, so I had to take it slower.
You hate to see it.
Yep. The slopes do that to you sometimes.
Have you been keeping up with Slayer's run at all on a second monitor, or have you turned into the stream at this point?
I have not. I've purposefully kept away from it.
There's
Just
a
get rid of
tempting
pressure.
wall clip right now. Oh, he gets it like 3rd try.
That was nice.
So, Frogs, how much have you practiced wall clip?
Recently not a lot, but when I was actively trying to learn it, probably 2 to 3 hours maximum spent on it. Not a whole lot compared to some other tricks. It's
And
a really weird one.
Hunter mentioned earlier that you said you were going to hit it on either the 3rd or the 20th try, and that was definitely closer to the 20th.
Oh
how do you
yeah,
feel- Is it hard, do you think, or is it just kind of like not consistent?
the inputs are hard. The setup is not. It's not inconsistent. The inputs are difficult. Flicking the joystick back and pressing B at the same exact time is really hard.
Right, because visually on screen it doesn't look that complicated, but I'm sure the inputs are harder than it seems.
You have to stand in a very specific spot, and that's the only part that I had to actively look at. The rest was just input based.
Right, and with that,
Slayer?
Slayer's done with a 44.55.
Nice.
He should be joining us here in a moment as well, I believe.
Yep. He got a 44.55.
That is the time on screen, yes.
So this is... I'm not sure if this is the most up to date, but it says his PB on speedrun.com is a 45.10.
That is not his PB.
Yeah, I didn't think it was, but
Hello,
we're
Slayer.
Hey guys. Oh, I'm so insulted by that.
Oh
That
no,
performance was just terrible.
I don't think that was too bad of a run overall, but it seems like you feel like you could have done better.
Yeah. starting off, I had that embarrassing death in Bedouin Woods. Treewood Forest, I already forgot. Inky was pretty alright. And I slipped again in Ice River Run, like my finger slipped off B there in Bedouin Woods. But I did get some pretty good World 4 golds and okayish Clyde.
No way, I also had a World 4 gold. My gold did Magma Opus.
Yo, Magmorphous as well, let's go, Frogs.
Let's go.
And ITV as well. So 2 golds.
Oh, congrats on that.
When I saw like Frogs was a minute ahead, like when he was entering Avalanche Islands, I was like, GG, he won. But I kept a solid mind and kept playing my best, and that's all that matters in the end. I had fun.
I did too.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Like to hear that. Slayer, what is your updated time? I don't think it's updated on speedrun.com, right?
It's not, because for emulation guidelines, you have to submit runs 40 minutes or higher. And I have a 43:41, so I'm not allowed to submit that, but
45 is the cutoff for emulator.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. This is like a tournament PB, since my last run was a 45:37 or something like that.
Improvement, let's go.
Improvement, let's go, gamers.
Yeah, and you've been running for what, about 4 months now only?
Yeah, 4 months. I gotta say, I've gotten good super fast. It's incredible, and I look forward to getting better and better as time progresses.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where you are in another 4 months.
Maybe I'll have the 41 by then, or 40. We'll see. 40. Nah, 40 is too early for that.
Well, whatever your goal is, I'm rooting for you. Does anyone have
Thanks.
anything else they want to say? Hunter, Frog, Slayer?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. I saw you practicing whale, and I was like, dang, he's getting 2 cycles. I hope he gets a 1 cycle. I was rooting for you when I saw you on whale. I was like,
No.
dang, it happened again. Hey, but for being as rusty as you are, 41:46 is an incredible time, and 44:45 for me with what happened was pretty good as well. So enjoyable
About a minute
race.
off
I
of our
liked it.
PBs, both of us.
Yeah, a minute. So not too shabby. Not too shabby.
I'll say.
Yeah, it was a great race. Both of you played very well. Okay, I think if we don't have anything else, that concludes this Pac-Man World 2 any % race. So Frogs will be moving on. You play Nacho next, correct?
It should be, yeah.
I could check the challenge if anything.
Pretty sure it's against Nacho.
Yeah. Yeah, Nacho beat Ian, so it definitely should be.
You can need another one of these then.
Yeah, he said in the chat that you were scaring him. I assume that meant with this this great run you had here.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea when that might get scheduled for? Or do you guys still have to kind of decide that?
I think this is the first race of this section of the bracket, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the second one. If it's the second one, then we will try and schedule it as soon as possible. But if not, then we have to wait for another round to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that next matchup.
And I definitely look forward to having a better race next time. And whoever I'm facing, I think I'm not sure, Ian or someone. Maybe Laws, I have no idea yet. I think there's another round, and then whoever wins that faces me. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, we'd love to see you back in another one of these races.
Most definitely. I look forward to it.
Cool. Okay, if that's everything, I think we can officially wrap up here. Hunter, any final thoughts?
I think we're good.
Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this race. Be sure to check back for any more that we have in the future. I'm going to drop the runners' links in the chat one more time. Be sure to check them out. And with that, I think that's all. Thanks for watching again.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Take care, gamers. Everyone have a good day or good night wherever you are.